This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. WFO, Joe Castello back with you, and we've got a great show for you today, the end of the week, right? Everybody gets warmed up for the end of the week, a little Thursday, a little Friday, and we're going to have ourselves a great time on this show. I encourage you. I'm always encouraging people. Encourage you to start a watch party because we have got a 16-time NHRA Mello Yello Funny Car Champion of the World, John Force, on this show. We're going to check out John, find out what he's been up to, what he's doing, and just reconnect with one of the best drag racers, motorsport icon, and a great guy, John Force, on this show. If you've got comments, we'll ask you to put them in the comments section. John, just a couple of seconds away, just found out he's going to be a grandfather once again. Baby Ray Hall on the way. Just great news. Good things happening in a time where we're all looking for good news. So John Force, just seconds away. Welcome to you. And we've had great shows so far. Before we go too far into it, though, I do want to remind everybody the happy hour show that happens on Fridays at 4 p.m. here, where we get together and we have a beverage and we celebrate the end of the week. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., it's going to be happy hour beer with Selzy. Gary Selzy, the four-time champ, is going to join us and talk drag racing and have fun. And we are going to have a good time. You are all welcome to join. 4 p.m. Set a reminder, like our Facebook page, etc. And all of this, for me to be able to put on shows like this, it's only possible because of a couple of great sponsors, people who make just like everybody else in the world, right? We've got to have sponsors, advertisers, marketing partners, talking about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. They do such a great job. Matt Hartford, Lake Speed Jr., Keith Jones, the team over there. I have become so educated on piston ring technology. It is amazing. What I don't need an education to know is that 20% off for DIY racers coming to an end soon. So you want to hit them up. They got their gas-ported pistons from stock eliminator all the way up to Formula One. They have got piston rings. Marvin Rodak, coffee, hot sauces, spice rub, gourmet stuff, the best of the best, not the vacuum-packed garbage you get in the grocery store. I'm talking about roasted fresh per your order. Marvin Rodak is a drag racing fan down there in Fort Worth, Texas. Come on now. Get you a little Rodak's coffee. Keep him rolling, and he keeps me rolling with that highly caffeinated WFO Radio blend. Marvin Rodak, good guy. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. They do such a great job introducing new drivers. And frankly, if you want to be a champion driver, you go to Frank Hawley's. And if you just want to feel like driving a dragster, you can go to Frank Hawley's. Excellent work, Frank and Lana Hawley. We really appreciate their support right from the beginning of WFO Radio. And finally, Samtech, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, samtech.edu. Start your education at full speed. What does it mean? It means that you young people out there can choose a life and a career and work that you enjoy and you're excited about going every single day. And it's like you never go to work, except you're always working. And you don't mind. Samtech.edu. I really appreciate you guys. And one final reminder, WFO Radio, our t-shirts are available on Nitro Fish Racing, and they have offered a promo code WFO20, 20% off all shirts. What are they thinking? I have no idea. And without further ado, he is the 16-time NHRA Mello Yello Funny Car Champ, drag racing icon, motorsports icon, and a great guy all around, Mr. John Force. What's up, Force? How you doing? Oh, we're doing the masks? We're doing the masks?
Hey, Joe, you're 10 feet away. Sarah got me set up here, so I want to show you I'm social distancing.
Yes.
But I'm going to take my mask off. You just put yours on.
Yes.
But everybody's way around. I'm alone in this room with you, and Sarah Slaughter's 10 feet away.
10.
We do practice it here at John Force Racing and in Indy, and trying to abide by the rules that this government gives us and our state. And I'm good to be back on your show.
Yes,
and,
it's been a while.
Good to be here with you.
I am thrilled that you're on, and I appreciate you saying those things because it may seem like obvious to so many people, but it's obviously not obvious to everyone. There's a lot of people that don't, get whatever the deal is, just do it. Okay. Like, is it really going to affect me? Yeah. It might. Our great friend, I don't know if you know, but Steve Johnson's crew guy, Jock, has got it, has been fighting for his life. He just opened his eyes for the first time the other day. Todd Smith, world champion crew chief, who he has been fighting for his life and is now on the other side of it. Did a great article on Comp Plus. There's an article about you on there right now. So yeah, if you got a mask, wear the mask. Stay away from people directly. And maybe then we can go enjoy our favorite sport, drag racing, like this past weekend at the Texas Motorplex. I think they did a pretty good job down there.
I heard about it. I read the stuff that, take my glasses off, I'm here in the building, read the stuff that Elon Warner is writing. I'm excited to see Billy Myers trying to keep the doors open. We don't know where it's going to go, but we're all working hard on it. I'm trying to hold my people together the best I can. I've got a big operation. I might have got too big for my britches, but at the end of the day, we love racing. It's what we do. The fans love it, and we're able to spread the word with you. First, I want to say I always thank the men and women in the military and the armed services, the police and fire department, all of these folks. But now, thought about it, but didn't talk about it. But the ones that are working every day in the hospitals, the first responders, all the nurses, the doctors that are getting sick themselves. You know what I mean? Trying to protect, the folks that are there with this coronavirus. And we owe them a lot of thanks. And I want to make that clear. I used to say in the airports, I always say hi to the military or a policeman. Now, if I know someone is a doctor or a nurse, I'm going to speak up and say something because they're keeping us alive. And we got to help. We got to enforce the rules. I know a lot of people think, well, this isn't happening. It's political. I don't know what it is, but it don't hurt to help.
I agree. And to appreciate the healthcare workers, they don't wear a uniform that we can see them 50 feet across the concourse, but they're out there. And I've thought about that many times. The day that they say, yeah, I'm not going today, I'm not going to do it, it's going to be a tough time. We have to appreciate them. And I know you've always been so good with the military and first responders, police, fire departments as well. These people have to be considered as well. I throw teachers in there personally. They obviously their role in our civilization is very important too. And we're learning that, but I don't want, John, I want you to have a little fun on this show here. I want to break through, and we're all dealing with the negativity. And there's a great column about the business and the sponsorship on Competition Plus you did with Susan Wade, where you tackle all those issues about on and off and what's going to happen. I want to talk about some of those things. We'll get to them. But what is most important? What's most important is the baby Ray Hall is on its way. And Courtney and Graham are giving you another grandchild. It's going to be amazing. I've got November, I guess it's happening. And that's got to be so exciting for you. I know Noah just had a birthday, so you're going to be a grandfather again.
Yep. First, let me say, I didn't mention the school teachers, but we all know how important they are. Our children need to get educated. And I want to say to all the folks, you're at home now, and I watch the news too much, but you got an opportunity to spend some time with your families. You got time to spend time with grandma and grandpa, social distancing. But you got a chance to see your house. I got to know my house. I even picked roses the other day, and that was really painful. Hard for me to do, stuck everywhere. But what I'm saying is, you got an opportunity to make a positive out of a negative. Take that time, enjoy it. I got on Nutrisystem. This ain't a sponsor plug, and I've lost 13, 14 pounds, and I'm living it for the last couple of months, living in the gym, all the things I wasn't able to do because of living on the road in airports and traveling continually. So I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative is what I'm trying to do. But you know what? I got excited because you just made a statement. You have the little gatherings of groups you get together. Having Gary Selzy on next week, great racer, great guy with a big heart, got a family. You're going to have a lot of fun. I want to watch that show. He'll really get into it. And a beer with Selzy. You better have plenty of beer. And I noticed you've had these with Caps and different, Langdon and different people. Is it because I don't drink beer, I never got invited?
Well, wait a second. It's funny you should bring that up because I thought about that. And it's like how do I say this? Like, I would love to have you for a relaxed hangout session. You don't have to have a beverage. You could fake it. You could have a little, you could have a lot, but I didn't want to put you in an awkward position. Of course, you're invited for that kind of deal. But I know you're a super busy guy. I'm thrilled to have the time. So when can we put you down for? A couple weeks out, like right before we get going again?
I'll be there for you. I want to have some fun, but I want to talk some racing. And, Susan Wade did an article, not fake news. She writes about what she believes from the heart. We spent over an hour talking to her, and I'm getting to know her better. It's really funny. I made a statement, a happy birthday to Phil Burgess the other day.
Yes,
and
Phil.
I said, a lot of people think they know us drivers or us crew chiefs or team members, but they really don't know us. Do I really know Joe? Do I really know you? I know Gary Selzy. I've been in the trenches with him, but do they really know us? And there's certain people that do know us from so many years. And it's good to have them around where they can, one, tell the stories after we're gone, meaning me, but mainly that they know from the heart. If we say something wrong, they know what we mean. You know what I mean? And it don't get like our media gets out there in the world.
Yeah.
Crazy. But look, Selzy, it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great party. And yes, I will get a spot. I want to be on that. I want all the exposure I can get because I'm bored to death. Even though Robert Height and myself, we work every day. Even on Saturdays, we're down here. And Daniel Hood, my teams, even though I've got some cuts in my program, I'm ready to go racing tomorrow. 4 race teams are loaded. Okay. And everybody's with me. Some have got laid off. Some have got, I never cut any wages. What I did was I cut the hours in half, where the people could go get other work. So John Force Racing is in business. But like I said, it's all based on the sponsors. That's what I live by.
That's great. No, I love it. And without them, we need fans. We need sponsors. The fans loyal to the sponsors loyal to the racers. We've got this fantastic sport that we love so much. That's how it all works. Now, you mentioned Nutrisystem. All right, I'm from Miami, as you may or may not know, and Dan Marino was the Nutrisystem guy for 100 years. Are you trying to steal this guy's gig? Can John Force be the next Nutrisystem guy? Like, think about that, John. You could have a whole new deal. Like, hi, I'm John Force. Let me tell you about Nutrisystem. What do you think?
Well, Dan Marino, love him. Love that movie with
Ace Ventura.
Dumber and Dumb. What's that guy's name?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. Do you know I was in that movie? Do you know I was in
that? When I came home, you tend over the winter to put on a little bit of weight. I noticed that at Pomona and Phoenix, and I was struggling the way I felt in the car. I wasn't in fight mode. And all of a sudden, I made all excuses. It was Christmas, but I had an opportunity, and my kids all have their diets, and my wife, what everybody does. And they said, why don't you try it? I got on it within a few days because we had an order already coming. And I thought I'd do it for a day and I'd quit, but I got into it. Pretty good taste in food, and it really works. Of course, for me to lose 16 pounds in the first 2 months wasn't too hard for me. That was real easy. Now it's getting tougher. But I will say, I joked yesterday, they say, never to make a joke about a serious cause. But what we're doing now, trying to know when we're coming back, it'll drive you crazy. And, there's a lot of problems. People do go crazy. But Nutrisystem, good stuff, good taste in food. But after a while, everybody just wants to go get a big greasy cheeseburger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Me
and
too.
A French fry. I haven't done it yet, but it's getting closer and closer. So, not being on the road makes it a lot easier, even though you can travel with it, makes it a lot easier. But it's working. I'm excited about it. And I'm going to be in fight mode when this thing comes back.
No, that's good to know. I'm getting a lot of comments. People want to know what I was saying when I said that I was in that movie, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And the answer is yes. In the Super Bowl scene, I was an extra. They called us down to the stadium where the Dolphins played, and I was an extra in the movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I have a film career. I did not get an official credit. I was just a mass extra. You go cattle call, like go stand in the bleachers, pretend like it's the Super Bowl and cheer. And that's where I was, me and my friend, somewhere in the crowd. And yeah, it was a great experience being a part of it. So that's what happened. Now, John, you've got Hollywood aspirations, though, too. It has been, we know about your career in drag racing and some of the great moments. I love seeing these photos from the old school days before John Force was 16-time, right? When you had first gotten started and you were this, that's when you started to get good. I want to ask you about that one in a minute. But to be successful, you had to have a flair for the entertainment. And I can see you did a video the other day where you were doing comedy, where you have that bug. You want to do that a little bit.
I don't know if it's comedy, but I was in the movies too. I was in a movie years ago. I was an extra, and I got to in a crowd. You'll see me as a walk by, and I was driving funny cars in those days. I went down there because it paid $75 a day for an extra. In the movie with Shirley Muldowney, Heart Like a Wheel. She didn't even know who I was in those days, but I got to walk by in the background. I was part of it, and it was pretty awesome. And I love the movies. Probably that's the hardest thing on me right now. I get a lot of time with my grandchildren and my kids. And and I got a new grandbaby coming with Ray Hall and Courtney. He'll want to be an IndyCar driver, but I'm going to work on him and his grandpa Bobby to get him in a drag race car at least once. I'm trying to get Ray Hall in, but love it. Where were you going, Joe? I got lost again.
I just want to show cool pictures of your car, John. You had a really good year last year. You won the Chevrolet Performance US Nationals. You got your 150th win. It was just this incredible comeback season. You had spent some time like navigating driving and working on the car and the setup and all of that stuff. But then there were some changes at the team. Brian Karate went back to Top Fuel, and it almost seems like these stories are 100 years old, right? Because of this coronavirus. But the fact of the matter is, you started off the season like pretty strong, and then we got stopped. So is everything the same as it was when you put it away in Arizona, or have you guys been working on some things to make it better?
No, we've had to cut back over the last 2 months on help. Our cars are ready to roll. The machine shops and chassis shops, I've got a lot of the crew members and the crew chiefs down there. We've even taken on some outside work, building for a regional company there in that makes ultraviolet lights, for workshops, and they make all kinds of stuff. But we're building some of their the hoods or whatever we do just to generate a little extra money and maybe do some business that direction, helping a local big company right there in that area. But no, drag racing is what we do, and our people focus on it. Right now, Justin's trying to get all the chassis caught up, get bodies mounted. We're trying to get blowers. We got a new load of blocks coming in. We're trying to get caught up on blocks and blowers, clutches and supercharges. I don't have all the people, but I got enough to store up. We got enough to race, but I want to build more parts if we do make that 16-run race. And now they're maybe talking a couple at Indy that we're going to make sure we have enough parts. I got to be ready to go. I'm under contract. I've got to have my teams where I can put my drivers back and put, I can't breach a contract to a sponsor until they tell me it's over. And I've got contracts that go into next year. So we got a lot of work to do to keep alive. And then the downtime, I try to turn it into sniffing roses, being at home. I swam with my Jacob and Noah yesterday in the pool, trying to have that time with the family, because once we go back, it goes back to that other world. And that other world, I never realized that for almost 50 years I've been out there, and I got addicted from the very beginning, and I don't do nothing but race. And, I didn't even know my own wife for 20 years. And she started with me in this business in the early days. Now I'm really driving her crazy. I don't know my employees. Never met my gardener that goes there every week. Now I'm the gardener. So nope, I got no complaints. It's going to be tough to get back, but we got to watch where these outbreaks go. With this virus, we got to see how the world goes. And there's so many doors opening and closing. It's hard to make a decision, but I can't make a decision without my sponsors, and they're asking. And we're waiting for input. We met with Pro this morning. We met with Peter Clifford and Cromwell, they all spoke to us what the game plan is. And then we got to go to the sponsors and see what we're going to do. And I hope we come back, now. But we're going to have to see where it goes. But it's starting to happen. Doors are starting to open. People are starting to go a few at a time. And got to give Billy Myers and Texas credit. They're stepping up to the plate.
Absolutely. They did a great job this past weekend. Megan Meyer, Sean Bellemere both joined us on the show earlier this week. That's in our archive. And I'm excited about it. We got a couple of questions from the listeners.
Wait, how about that Courtney Force? Is that something? That little blonde little girl, 330 miles an hour in a funny car, having a baby. I'm so proud of you.
Wait.
Love to you, Courtney. Graham, a little bit of love to you. But
not so much,
I love
Graham.
your dad.
Not so much, Graham. You and Graham, you guys feud a little bit, which is cool. The photo was shared like hundreds of times, the Facebook post about baby Ray Hall and what's going on. And I am super excited for Courtney as well. And Graham. I've been a fan of Graham since before he was part of the extended drag racing family, but the kid's going to know how to drive one way or another. It's going to know how to drive, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, some people have asked a couple questions. This one I don't expect you to know the answer to. Like, it's not possible. But what is your favorite championship out of the 16? Like, can you even do that? Can you remember championship 11?
It would have to be the first, because you think it's never going to come. And winning in 1990, and I won in 91. Then I lost in 92 to the hamburger stand from hell, Cruz Petragon. And then I came back and won 10 straight. And I got to give credit, to Austin Coyle. Got to give credit. Karate. Love karate. He went home to where he belongs with Antron and Schumacher. But Daniel Hood was like his son or brother. They worked together. And Danny picked it right up. And we came out swinging at Pomona and Phoenix. But, I got that win last year, my 150th, and I want to say thank you for a great job to Karate. He's a great individual, and I want to wish him and Antron good luck. And of course, I won that day when Austin Prock. That's why I win the stands. It made me crazy. Austin Prock won his first race, in the Montana brand. And of course, now Brittany drives for Monster and Flavor Pack, and then Flavor Pack and Monster. It's an ongoing thing, but those were great moments. But then to come back, I hadn't won Indy in a while. I think I won it like McCullough's almost as many times as McCullough, 4 or 5. But to come back and win Indy and to beat great drivers like Caps and to have a car that was that good, and I've got a car that's good now. So we just got to keep working, and we'll see where it goes.
That is great. I like it. Everybody loves the hamburger stand from Hellline, which is exactly how we remember it. And I spoke with Cruz a couple of weeks ago, and he obviously has fond memories of that. But that really is why drag racing is to this point. But John, I noticed that this period, like, we all want to go drag racing. Let's face it. That's number one. But we have all been forced to consider what we like to do in addition to drag racing. I've thought that's one of the reasons we started this show on the web, doing it the way we're doing. I've thought, like, what if I don't get invited back? Like, who knows what we're going to do? I have been told that you have always considered, and you're thinking about, like, maybe whenever you stop driving, you'd like to do a talk show. Is that true? Would you like to do a talk show like Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show?
Was that me on the left with no hair?
That's
Oh, no, that's me on the right.
That's Don Rickles.
Yeah, and I've set up a studio here in Yorba Linda. I even talked with you about it and Sarah Slaughter about doing something here, well, because we could do it. It takes money to run a show like that. Right now, you got to understand, sponsors can only spend so much money. You know what I mean? When you're not racing, there's only a point they can go. Luckily, I put away. I had a lot of good years. I won a lot. I saved money. A lot of my corporations made money, and I saved for a rainy day, and I'm helping the sponsors get through this. But it's tough, and I can only go to a point. But yeah, one day I will have a talk show. I did the first one here with Perdome, and I had Dolly Parton here and Kenny Rogers, and we did it. Was forced off the wall, but we never kicked it off. We never had time. It never happened. For whatever reason, maybe I have no talent, but they all did. But the point is, what I look at down the road is that's where I want to go. I'm going to go back on the show. I'm going to run my teams, and I'm going to run my machine shops in Indy, even if I'm building for other people. We may be making an announcement on that here in a few months, where I've got to go to try to keep that alive. But I want to go and get my movie done. It's the script is done, the book is done, and I haven't even put it out there because I want to be part of it. But that's where I'm going to go. I love Hollywood. I live the theater. My daughter Ashley, we have a studio here with 70 people, a person setting here. We got everything to make movies, but I'll have to bring in Hollywood to do it right. But that's where I want to go. But I'm going to start with me a show, but I got to have the time to do it. And I had talked with a number of people about trying to do it now and do it 1 or 2 days a week. I spoke with you, and but in the middle of it, when you can't, you don't need a crowd, but you still got to have people filming. And so we put it aside, and then we're going to see where it's going to go in the future. But I'm going there. I'm going to have me a host, even if and it'll be probably just about racing.
Why this format though, which I think is interesting, and I want to know about, like, coming up, watching guys like Carson, Leno, the late night guys. Is that like a thing that you're into? We know that you're a movie buff already, but I think about Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show. I'm a kid crawling around on the rug, right? I'm a rug rat, literally, and The Tonight Show is on in the background. Like, I am under the impression that that's exactly where you want to be, behind the desk with guests coming in, maybe a little monologue. To me, that's interesting that you would want to be there. Why is it? Tell me about.
Because I love the crowd. I love the whole part of entertaining people. I really love it. I've been doing that my whole life since I was driving a truck when I was a kid. I was always with a crowd of football players on a team. I was always somewhere. And then cars, I could wear a helmet and it could do the running for me. But one day I'll have to get out of that seat. And I'm still alive and I'm still talking. Then I want to go into a studio where I can entertain and bring my history back of the sport and bring in the new stars. But I don't see why I couldn't set up a show, like NASCAR and IndyCar does, and have a show that comes on. And I might be on a Tuesday, so I get home on a Monday. I can work on Tuesday, film it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Have the winning driver from the race come in,
Wait a
different
second.
categories.
This is starting to sound a lot like WFO radio, John. I don't know if I need you as a direct competitor. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem, no one's going to ever outdo you, Joe. What I'm saying is, I like to talk like you, if I'd ever let you talk, but I like to preach the gospel of our sport. I don't want to get into religion. I don't want to get into politics. That'll just get me in trouble. I don't know anything about it.
Good.
And you can never win. But in racing, if you give them what the fans want and you bring them stars in. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But that is a dream of mine.
Okay, the rumors, right? You addressed them already. They're out there floating around. They're rumors. We don't know exactly. NHRA, we already know that they have got a very tough situation dealing with local and state governments. They want to keep the fans safe, obviously. But there has been a rumor floated about this July thing. Right down the street from you guys. People don't realize, if they've never been to Brownsburg, like, you guys are literally like a mile or two away. You'd have to bring guys back though. Like, these teams require guys. There's a lot of moving parts people haven't considered about that. But we would be racing again, at least a couple of shots, according to the rumor.
Well, NASCAR went out there and they put it out there and they put out TV with no fans. And it looks like it's working. And now it's starting to happen. Billy Myers, different racetracks around the country doing a little bit of stuff because what the governor allows, our governor here in California has shut us down. You know what I mean? So what I'm looking at is, if this pandemic, and you ain't going to know in a couple of weeks because the beach opens, you might know in a month if there's an outbreak. You know what I mean? But once we see where it's going, and it really looks like it's getting better. And I'm not just that I live in hope. I believe in God, but it looks like it, if you can believe what the media says. But you got different sides that are doing what they're doing.
Sure.
What is the real truth? You can only watch it and see where the outbreaks are. If it continues to outbreak, we'll end up in the next year.
Yeah.
If it keeps having people getting sick, because we can't have that. But
No.
we can't let the country go broke. So we got to go back to work. So they're going to do it a piece at a time. And that's what NHRA is trying to do. A lot of guys want to go back right now because they have contracts. There's a lot of guys that are selling race parts. They want to go back right now. I can't go back unless the sponsor says go back. So,
Right.
We're just watching what happens. We got to be able to give them TV. NHRA told us today in the meeting, we will have TV. And I think they're going to try to put a race in Indy in June. I don't know for sure. I don't make those decisions.
Yeah.
Listen. I know they want to start up in August, and we're going to wait and see where it goes. That's all we can do. But in the next 4 to 5 weeks, if there's outbreaks, well, then we're going to be parked.
Right. And how do we stop? And how do we stop outbreaks, people? Wear the mask.
Put on your mask.
Put on your mask.
Blue Deaf in there. Thank you.
There it is. Oh, Blue Deaf is doing great on this show, and we appreciate them. And by the way, when I did the Garlits Hall of Fame deal earlier this year, right before the Gator Nationals, and we delivered your message that you were unable to make it, and everybody remembers how terrible it was. Doing crowds like that, I'm new at it, and so I didn't want to make too many jokes, right? It's not about me trying to be a comedian. It's about me honoring Billy Meyer, etc. But I did have one joke, and my one joke, and I thought I was so smart. I was like, hey, at least now the sponsors can put their logos right over the drivers' faces. And everybody like, yeah, right. And sure enough, it's the truth. It's the truth. All right. One more question before
you should have got a patent on that.
I should have.
Carlos does a great thing with the museum, honoring Billy Myers and others. Love Billy Myers. He's like family to me. Well-deserved. I called him on it and said, congratulations. But I was turned around in an airport. They said, our hotels are being canceled.
Yeah.
A lot of people make decisions for me and head back to LA. And, that's where I did. I didn't want to be parked there in Florida, even though it's a beautiful place. Frank Hawley's there. I love it.
Yes.
But next question.
What, and this will be the final one, because we could chit chat all day long. I want to save our time for the next time you come on our happy hour show and we enjoy a beverage and kick it about the old times. But I do want to get your opinion on something positive that is happening. It was supposed to happen yesterday. Maybe you're up on it. Maybe you're interested. Maybe you're not interested. Maybe you're not up on it. So I'm going to mention it. But the big launch, the SpaceX NASA launch that is going to send American astronauts back into space from the United States on an American-built spacecraft for the first time in over a decade. I was super excited about it. It got scrubbed yesterday. It'll now happen on Saturday, hopefully. But considering, the era you grew up in, the space race and technology and all of that, I would guess that you'd be into that. What have you been keeping up with that at all? And what do you think?
Well, number one, America has to stay ahead of all the countries.
Everyone.
And they always have been. Kennedy did it in the early days. Oh, yes, I watched it. I was sitting there when they canceled it. Okay. But what I'm saying is we've got to be out there because they always said the first one on the moon, is going to run stuff. Well, things slowed down, things stopped. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But what we have to look at is the technology that's out there and to have investors, like this SpaceX group that's in there. Of course, you notice he was pitching his car right there on the launch pad.
Of course.
I think it was his car. Either that
absolutely. Those were Teslas.
But what I'm saying is, I don't want to get into this stuff.
Got it.
What I'm saying is, we got to get out there. And it was parked. But to show you how smart drag racers are, when asked who was the first guy to walk on the moon, into outer space. Now watch you tell me they didn't walk on the moon. It was Venus. Something that you would throw me under the bus.
It's a studio in Hollywood. It never really happened.
But I watched that show too.
Yeah.
But everyone was saying Danny Hood come up with some cartoon name of Armstrong, Bebopper Armstrong pilot or something. And then my grandson named it Neil, said it's Neil Armstrong. But to show you drag racers, Langdon said it was Dale Armstrong.
Right, exactly.
Langdon, that's why I love you. Okay.
What about that? What's going on with that, John? That's never been addressed. You brought it up. What about that?
What about what?
About Langdon. Think he's hanging around?
First of all, Graham, you're going to have beautiful babies because they're going to look like Courtney and me. So, but you'll make them a great IndyCar driver, boy or girl. They won't tell us what it is. But I do want to say here on national radio or TV,
Worldwide.
with you, I want to say that I got a nice bottle of wine with baby Rahal. I got a nice photo of Courtney's little belly, and I cried for hours. My wife tells me to go away. But then I saw what you gave your dad, Bobby. He got little mittens too. Graham, how come I didn't get mittens? Don't I love you enough? You know I do.
Where are the mittens, Graham? Where are the mittens, Graham? Seriously, where are the mittens?
We're going to have so much fun. I love my grandkids. They're the biggest part of my life. Stay healthy. Take care of grandma and grandpa. That means me. But stay healthy, social distance, honor the workers that are out there that are protecting us, and stay well, stay healthy.
John,
we will be back drag racing.
I know it.
Count on it.
No doubt about it. John, thank you very much for making the time for WFO Radio Podcast. Our podcast listeners, people watching on Facebook and YouTube, really appreciate it. But hey, now I'm going to work with Sarah to get you on one of our happy hour shows where we chill and talk about some fun things and go in different directions, and we lighten up a little bit, but have fun because, you called me out a little bit and I appreciate it, and I'm going to make it right and we're going to do it. Sound good?
I'm coming on, Joe, but I'm coming on. I ain't going to drink.
No. Okay.
I'm going to be on Monster Energy, and I'm going to give you a show like you never saw.
All right. I like it. How about that? John, thank you very much for all you've done, not just this, but building drag racing, helping build drag racing into a business that so many people can make a living and hopefully, have been and will again as soon as is possible. Thank you so much, John.
Go get him, Gary Selzy. Love you.
There he goes. John Force with us here on WFO Radio. How about that? Click the bell, click subscribe. Podcast audio will be up. Mobile application for iPhone and Android. And John is just the best. Yes, he did dodge my question. I was getting there. I figured, let's lean on him a little bit. The idea of Force doing a monologue, I like it. I think it's going to be great. I think I could picture him. I always pictured myself as a Johnny Carson character. Maybe I could be John's Ed McMahon. Who knows? He did mention the Gary Selzy thing. Friday, 4 p.m. Tomorrow, Friday, Gary Selzy is going to join us and a couple of other special guests. Here's what I like to do with this. I like to have our primary guest, like we did with Ron Capps and Ron Tobler, and then bring in other guests. Oh, you can watch all of these right here on our Facebook page or on the WFO Radio YouTube channel or on our WFO Radio website. But Ron Tobler, Ron Capps, Wine Night. How did Force know about that? That's the question. Like, Force, does he watch the show? He told me he watched the show, but I really didn't believe him. I didn't believe Force when he told me he watched the show. I figure, he just tells people that. But then he comes out with some details about the show. Wow, that is pretty interesting. We also had Daryl and Jerry Gwynn on recently talking about Miami Hollywood Speedway, Miami's super track from back in the day, 1966 to 1992. Courtney Enders and Jason Logan come on every other Friday on Friday Cocktails. But this week, it's Beer with Selzy. Have a beer with Selzy. So 4 p.m., we just be here. Beer with Selzy. And the comments go up. We have a lot of fun. Randy says thanks. Craig Garland got so much love last week on the Happy Hour show. Everybody appreciates it, and I appreciate it too. Now, want something for free? Everybody, would you like something for free? Yeah, I would like something for free, Joe. WFO Radio stickers are free. All you have to do is send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen, and you'll get stickers like these. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, and 33084. And I will load your envelope with stickers. And I've been going to the post office, and John is right. Like, we're all a little stir crazy and a little bored. And when I go to the post office and find the self-addressed stamped envelope from WFO Radio listeners for these stickers, it gives me something to do, and it's a great way of interacting with the fans. So I appreciate you. Our WFO Radio Patreons, patreon.com/WFO Radio, they're getting the masks, right? And you might be wondering, like, where did I get this mask and why is it so silky? I didn't design or make the masks. Randy Lynn Ship from nitrofishracing.com did, stock eliminator racer, national event winner. And not only has she made these masks for us, but she has given us a promo code for Nitrofish Racing, WFO20. Save 20% off on t-shirts like our WFO radio t-shirt or the Erica Enders 3-time champion t-shirt, all of that. Now, the masks, I got to send them to you directly. Somebody won one on with Alan Reinhart earlier this week. Steve Brenwald does all of our art, and our sponsors have been doing great things talking about samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We've got a podcast about Factory Stock Showdown. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings. The Hidden Horsepower Show has been tremendous. Last chance to get 20% off tools and rings. Call Keith Jones, Lake Speed Jr. over there at Total Seal Piston Rings. Marvin Rodak, if you're a coffee file, like everybody's got coffee, right? But here's the thing. A lot of that is just macro coffee that is bought and labeled and marketed. Like WFO coffee. That's not what Marvin's is. Marvin's is exotic coffee from around the world, roasted in small batches, fresh for your order. And so it will show up and you will see that this thing is brand new coffee for you, plus hot sauces and spice rubs, everything good like that. And of course, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. And just like that, we get to the end of another WFO radio. But the good news is it won't be long. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, Beer with Selzy. I'll be there working on some other guests. Like, who should be there? I would love to hear from you. And to everybody out there, Randy, Keith wants to know, is that the actual Miami Hollywood Christmas tree from Moroso, from Miami Hollywood in Florida? And the answer is, yes, it is. I was the last announcer at Miami Hollywood, 1992. And I was able to acquire the tree. Dick Moroso was there at the last drag race, gave me the tree. And you might be wondering, like, Joe, you're a little late on the tree there, bud. Why is that? And it's because I'm looking at the computer screen. And what is the delay? It's about a tenth. Let me see if I can get on it here instead of looking at the screen. Yeah, see? In case anybody was doubting my practice tree prowess. But yes, it is the official tree. And go back and check out our Miami Hollywood show. It was really good. The archives are loaded. Free mobile apps, iPhone, Android, Apple Podcasts, Spotify for the audio, the podcast. We have special content there. All great. And really appreciate 16 Time for coming on the show. And we were able to get him to commit to the happy hour show. I'm not saying that was the plan to begin with, but it seems to have all worked out. Daryl says, thank you, Mr. Force. Appreciate it. And all you drag racing fans out there, John says it right. We're going to get through this. Things are starting to come back. But some people are not into this. There's a lot of stuff I'm not into. Just do it. And we'll be able to go back drag racing sooner rather than later. Thank you very much, John. Thank you to all you listeners out there. WFO Radio. The archives are loaded. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.